What's up, you guys? Today, how I went bankrupt when I was 22 years old. So if you're curious to know what not to do, feel free to watch the rest of this short video. A couple quick details of how it happened and what I did wrong and what I would change if I was in my shoes at that age again. First though, any of you guys have these Rode wireless go-to mic and receiver deals? I cannot get them to charge when plugged into the wall, but I think I've got one of them starting to charge now, and I don't know, I'd like to get them to work. So rewind 17 years, given that I'm 39 now. God, that sounds old when you say it out loud. Well, 22 is when I went bankrupt, but the foundation to going bankrupt started prior to that. I would say it started probably around 19 and kind of went from there. So at 19, was living with a friend in an apartment while we were going to school, and was just careless with using credit cards at the time. You know, bought a new laptop, which I didn't need, bought some other silly stuff that just didn't make sense. So, you know, put that on a credit card. I was working full time while going to school, paying for rent, luckily I didn't have a car payment at that time, still paying for food, gas, everything you gotta pay for when you're out on your own. And then the place I was working at ended up going bankrupt, kind of funny enough as that is, which led myself, one of my coworkers, and one of his friends to get together and decide we were gonna launch our first business. So we launched an automotive-based business. We were a detail shop and did general auto maintenance and repair. And as three guys with very little money, we kind of scraped together what we had to put a deposit for a small building to rent, and I put a bunch of stuff on credit cards. I put inventory on credit cards, we did marketing on credit cards, kind of everything that we possibly could just to get started and get moving in business. Unfortunately, revenue did not come as quickly as we would have needed to be able to service the debt that I put myself in. So I had no choice at the age of 22 to go to the courts and say, I cannot pay my debts. I'm a deadbeat. And unfortunately, it was the truth. I mean, if we had tried to pay off the debt that I had put on my credit cards, we wouldn't have been able to pay rent to keep the company going. So we had continued to grow the company. You know, we're in this brand new building now. It's just over it was like 7,700 square feet. We had a ton of huge clients. All of the major new car dealerships we had managed to bring on as our clients, doing all of their detailing for all of the used cars they took on trade-in and anything they bought at auction. We did all of them. Almost every major car dealer in the area. Given that business in like rental cars, we had Enterprise, we had some other companies that we were doing their detailing. We didn't market to consumers, to your regular Joe Schmo retail customer. We figured we've got this great foundation with all these big customers. And you know, there are some downfalls that come with big customers. They want a deal. They're not gonna pay retail prices. So your margins are a little bit smaller. And they don't pay at the time of service. We would invoice at the end of every month, and then they'd be net 30 to get a check. So from the time you did a car to the time you got paid, sometimes could be close to 60 days. So you had to be a little bit better with budgeting. But you'll notice the theme here, everything that we were doing was based on big car business. Well, if you were alive and of age back in 2007 going into 2008, you pretty much know the fate that is coming for us. We didn't see it coming, nor did a lot of people, but with the crash of 07, 08, the car business pretty much all but dried up. Car dealerships got closed down. GM was pulling franchises from people. It was an absolute disaster. Pretty much inside of 2 months, we lost almost every one of our major clients. Either to them closing their doors by their own volition, or corporate closing their doors for them, or they had at that point decided they have such little business and trying to keep people employed, they started detailing their own cars in-house. We tried to pivot at this point and start marketing to retail clients, but it was too late. The writing was on the wall at that point. We managed to hang on for a couple of years, but it just wasn't worth it to keep going down that path. In retrospect, we should have, even though we had this great business with large customers, we should have been marketing very hard to retail clients to hedge against having all of our eggs essentially in one basket. So looking back, I know it's not really kind of on my personal bankruptcy. I would, honest to God, say I would do the same thing over again, putting myself in debt to launch that company, even knowing that part of the outcome. But what I would tell myself is, as soon as you start generating any form of profit, start pouring it into marketing and advertising for a more diverse client base for us, at least in that business. Probably isn't going to take away and overlay to another business as well. I'm just speaking specifically on that business, that was auto detailing and auto repair. The repair side, we kind of really didn't focus on, since our detailing took off so much. We kind of just did some basic stuff for a couple clients that were detailing customers as well, just kind of be a one-stop shop for them. But we really focused on the detailing. I would go back and I would focus as much capital as we could on advertising and marketing to retail customers. Number one, they have a higher margin. Number two, it allows you to hedge a little bit better. Could I guarantee that would have gotten us through the crash of 07, 08? Nope, can't guarantee it, but it sure would have given us a significantly better chance at making it through that adventure. And in another video later, I'll break down a couple things that also went wrong during that time that impacted me personally in a negative fashion, but it doesn't really fit the bill for this video. So yeah, that's how I went bankrupt at 22 years old, 17 years ago. Can't believe it's almost 2 decades. Absolutely nuts. Do me a huge favor, smash that subscribe button and leave a comment below. We'll catch you in the next video.